Hey, good morning, one and all. Hope you're prepared for a great weekend. We have about a minute to go. There was supposed to be a jobs report today, but the US government is now out of business, so no report today. Probably just as well. It doesn't look like it's really affected anything. TLTs are up. Everything's up slightly. I'm watching the IWM crashing above 5-year highs. I've got this monthly chart. You can see we're about to make new highs, and that's probably the story to come. Small caps look like they could break out here. So welcome to today's Tactical Trading Room, hosted by yours truly. Quick thought for the day. You don't control the market. You don't control how far it goes, how fast it runs, or who gets in before you. But you do control one thing: how much you lose when you are wrong. And somehow that's the one thing that's the most elusive to most traders. They'll research for hours, add indicators, wait for confirmation, then size up on impulse and blow it all in a few seconds. So this game is not about being right. It's about surviving when you're not. And that is the game. Few tickers I'm looking at going into today, actually quite a few more in addition to this. We'll get into it all in a moment. Alongside VEEV, RNA, QCOM, STOK, AMD. Not much on the short side. This market is still heading higher, but I made some money on Team. I'm looking at McDonald's. Also made some money shorting eBay this week. Gold and silver continue to rally strong. Dollar yen looks like it's poised to go lower, and all the indexes, you got to stay long. So let's start as we do each week, kind of go around the horn, take a look at all the asset groups. I'm looking at currencies, the dollar index, dollar yen, pound New Zealand, and euro versus the dollar. The dollar's just been in a pretty humdrum trading range for quite some time. It's nondescript, hasn't broken out either way. Nothing really going on there. I am looking at dollar yen. Looks like grabbed a bit of resistance here. It also is in a kind of a resistance, but sitting on just above this 145 support level. And if we take out 145, I think it's going to go lower. The setup looks like we have a large double top governing price pattern in dollar yen. We've been going sideways. I expect this 145 level to eventually come out. Pound New Zealand took another shot at the highs, didn't like the way it felt, advised everybody to kind of duck out until we can reevaluate. Is still going higher, but when things crack, we could come back down and test the lower trend line. So we're hovering at highs. If it consolidates here, I'll get back long. I just exercise some caution here. It still looks very much intact. May just be consolidating at or near these highs, but I don't want to be around if she wants to break. So I'll kind of take another look and reevaluate if Humpty Dumpty can put itself back together again and retest this breakout area. Euro versus US dollar, also just climbing this wall of worry, just like the dollar index, trapped in this very high, tight flag pattern. I do like the fact that we've come higher and we're just very tight prices. So these where you can get extraordinary risk reward opportunities. It's sitting on this trend line. It may have a false break. We don't know yet. I'm still monitoring it. So still nothing really to write home about in currencies for the moment. Kind of a big week in the energy patch. Crude oil finally cracked below the $62 support line, and now looks like it could be poised to go even lower. But oil has been such a sideways market, back and forth, and so we may break it, go back into the trend line, but it does look like things are starting to turn lower. When we look at the price of Exxon, we broke out momentarily above this symmetrical triangle. It looks like it was a bull trap. Now we've broken right back in and we're poised to break this lower support line around 110. And if it does, it looks like it's going to head lower. So this has, again, been very sideways, back and forth, but we could finally get a break. You can see that Exxon was largely still governed by this double top all the way at the 125, and we've just effectively had lower highs since then, but also lower lows, hence this symmetrical triangle. So we may get another fake out, we may get another breakout. It could go either way at this point, but it does look like it's starting to leak to the downside. The weakest of the whole energy patch has been EOG Resources, ticker symbol EOG. So you can see we broke the neckline of this weekly double top price pattern. This has been kind of coming down in lower highs, and this thing looks like it's going to retest this lower $105 trading level in the not too distant future. And then Conoco also had a series of breakouts, both higher and lower. I guess we just got right to the top of it. So you can see we actually, if I rejoin this thing, broke out both ways, kind of a surfing wave. You can see it broke out of the symmetrical triangle here, then broke out, tried to, get out of it again. And, we kind of topped out at this 100 again. So this 90 support level in Conoco, if it gets taken out, does feel like we could break hard in these energy stocks. But there's been a lot of false signals in here. And for right now, it still is a sideways market. EOG is the weakest in the patch. Precious metals, just like Superman, up and away. Tested 3,900. Silver's a hair away from $50, and the metals look like they are something that everybody needs to have somewhere in their portfolio. Maybe 10% of your money should be in gold now. This is, obviously a speculative trading instrument, but it's also telling us something about financial asset markets. Now, it could take 6 months before, we see the ramifications, but gold at 3,900 is telling us a story. Silver looks like it's untethered. Hasn't been to $50 since, I think, 1980. And it looks like we're going to get there in not too distant future. So gold and silver, path of least resistance looks much higher. So with the backdrop of, the Fed looking like they're going to drop interest rates another 100 basis points over the next 12 months, and the IWM small cap looking like it's going to break a 5-year resistance level, Microsoft, NVIDIA, everything holding tight, theme stocks running. I think there's still a lot of gas left in this long-term bull market. You can see we're in this high, tight, very orderly trend line. This is a weekly chart of the triple Qs, which is the NASDAQ. Looks like we're going to test the upper support level in the not too distant future, and just nothing seems to stop this. And having said that, usually October you get some volatility. So any kind of retest of this trend line at any time could come at any time for any reason. But market extremely well behaved. When you kind of do things through the prism of these long-term charts, you can see how orderly it is. If you look at these 5-minute charts or 4 hours, you get a whole different feeling. But this has just been very, very orderly. And again, this is a rising wedge. Sometimes these can be bearish, but there's no reason to believe that this will be. But you never know. You just got to watch these boundaries, and if we take it out, watch your 6. So I look at these structures very carefully. But right now, this just seems very orderly. Having said that, we are within, a tight boundary. So at any time, resistance could come in for any reason. So picture just speaks for itself at this point. Yeah, Sean, the market, everything is up in the pre-market. We looked at it earlier. TLTs, a little higher at 89. I'm looking at this monthly chart on the TLT contract. I guess I'll just skip that previous slide and look at this. So TLT are the 20-year interest rates, 20-year Treasury bond ETF. And you can see that we're kind of in this little symmetrical triangle and really on the cusp of breaking it out here. The monthly high right here is about 91. So we may be able to break out north from here in TLT. So you can see we're just hovering right at that breakout on the monthly chart. Long term, this still looks ugly, but you could easily get a counter trend move at this point. Chart that I'm really interested in right now, this chart looks very interesting. This is the Russell small cap. It's lagged far behind NASDAQ, S&P, and even Dow, and just starting now to test a 5-year breakout. So, hard to write the obituary of this bull market when this thing looks like it's ready to take off. So it looks like small cap stocks, $15 stocks, $30 stocks, that have been passed over for a long time. I remember I was shorting QuantumScape 5 years ago, crashed. Now QS, FCell, Ballard Power, all these stocks are starting to see some life. And again, if the IWM small cap starts breaking out, which it certainly looks like it's going to, these things could really come out of the gates in a hurry. Yeah, you can see QQQ up today. This is a monthly chart, daily chart, broken out, all-time new highs, up just a hair in the pre-market. All right, I've got a lot of stuff I'm looking at here. So I put these setups with the intent of kind of educating your eye as to what to look for in high value opportunities, and then I also take a lot of these trades. So with that said, I'm looking at Toll Brothers, home builder, probably should run in this environment, lower interest rates. United Health, can't really see here, but it looks like it's really basing nicely. SMCI and Road. Toll Brothers looks like it's kind of breaking out of this bull flag, just settling in here, and looks like the next move is going to continue higher. It's hard to see here, UNH, high type prices, but this thing really came off in a hurry, and now looks like it's rebuilding a base, and may take a little longer. It's really secondary watch list right now. SMCI also looks like it's kind of breaking out of this pennant, formed this base, got this inside day bar, and looks like this thing is forming a base to trying to go higher now. And then Road, also kind of got a flag pennant, little key reversal here, and looks constructive. I like Toll. I bought Toll Brothers, and I actually like SMCI too. This thing looks like it should go back up. In this chart, VEEV, V-E-E-V, STOK, and RNA. I'm going to talk about VEEV and stock in greater detail in a minute. Both broke out earlier last week, and then on my weekly report last Sunday, I said this looked like a good stock to buy, and then on Monday it just opened $5-7 lower. So obviously didn't step into that thing. Waited to see if the lows would hold. They did, and when I saw they were holding, I started buying them, and then I bought some more on the close yesterday. I think VEEV is about unchanged in the pre-market right now, but it's just formed a monster consolidation. You had the liquidity play with bear trap where it took out all the stops, and now you've broken out and closed above the highs. So this is, I think that it's had its flush outs and looks like it's really poised to put on another move. It kind of looks like ALAB, at $100 before ALAB went to $250. Stock, same thing, just been consolidating in a very tight trading range. Also took out the liquidity here, the stops, and then it broke out last week and then went right back into the trading range. And when the lows held, I started buying it, and then I bought some more on the close, STOK. So we started talking about this on Wednesday, where you're seeing a lot of these moves now, where you get these false breakouts, you get a very hard sell-off. Doesn't look like much on the daily, but you get these hard breaks right back into the range. And then if they hold, it really indicates that this was just a false move. Call it a squat move or a dump move. I've actually put some more examples here. And since it's occurring so frequently, something we should look at, where stocks, form these trading ranges, they look good. The first breakout doesn't work and it just crashes right back into the range. But if those crashes hold, it's just, It's actually an opportunity. And I guess we have to learn to embrace the squat, for lack of a better word. RNA, I also own some of this. Kind of looks like it's, testing some kind of breakout here. Nice tight prices. Risk reward to me is pretty small. And RNA. So all of these, to me are good risk reward. They've been tested. They're testing the upper boundaries. And again, these are things that I put on the list. If they don't work, I was long STOK, and when it comes back into the range, I just get out very quickly. I don't wait to find out if it's going to be one of these. And then, if it puts itself back together again, I'll just get back in. So it's always important to control your risk as priority number one. But this looks excellent. Just really, really tight structure. I don't see any reason why this is not going to $28, $30 on this push. I don't know why I put this here. An interesting chart. But I made a lot of money off these kind of looks. This may be, I don't know if I intended to put it here, but if you look at other moves so BETR, I don't know if I meant to put this in here, but what I've noticed is when these extraordinary moves, when you get these, they always kind of coalesce back into a symmetrical pattern. I put some of these charts up, PONY, UMAC, cores, and I know I'm forgetting another one that I made a lot of money in, all had these structures. Actually, a little bit different. They based for a lot longer than this. So this may or may not work, BETR, but we're right at the moment of truth and might be worth a tester. A little bit different than variation of the other ones I just spoke about. ELF, kind of looking like it's trying to find a way from this flag. We're, basing here, and this looks like it's coiled and ready to go. A little inside day bar yesterday. I think ELF is up in the pre-market, and this thing looks like it wants to continue higher. And then OSCR, something that I looked at a while ago, made some money on the initial run up, and now OSCR looks like it could be, you just got to keep an eye on these things. It just will come out of nowhere. So you can see we're just hovering above the breakout of this pennant, the symmetrical triangle, and these, are very stealthy. They look like nothing. They pull back and then they go. So I would watch this very carefully. If it starts taking out this high around $20, this looks like it is going to go higher. And again, to me, the risk is, under this 3-day low, we're right here. Could take a pot shot at it here. It feels like this thing wants to break out of here and go north. And this could be a really good risk reward right at current levels. I think it may be slightly higher in the pre-market, OSCR. Again, I'm just giving you visuals, different structures, but in every instance, look how tight these prices are. Once things break out, it's too late. Don't chase them. Wait for things to consolidate in a tight little price pattern here, and it's very difficult to get hurt. The idea of this game is not to get hurt. Some other ideas I'm looking at on the weekly chart, PLXS, just broken out of this double bottom. Sometimes you need a retest. I really like breakouts and then the retest. But, this thing looks like it retested, got an inside weak bar, and looks like it wants to levitate north. RNA we looked at on the daily. Quick look at the weekly here. Bit of a flag. Could be set up, it has some resistance in here. Maybe not priority, but it does look like it's going to jump out of here pretty quickly. Got this nice key reversal. This whole thing looks like a nice base and a retest. So you broke out, retest, and this thing looks like it wants to go higher again. And then AMD kind of has the look of MU. When I was looking at MU at $90 or $105, I said this thing looks like it's going to skyrocket, and now MU's $185. I got out too early. I got out at like in the 160s. Still made a lot of money in it. AMD kind of feels like it's setting up in the same way. Got this bull flag here. We're breaking out, and this feels like it really wants to come out of here. Same with Qualcomm. So the neckline is not till about 190. We're at 170 now. So this feels like there's some room to run at least to 190 on this stock. So the market loves themes. It chases themes. One week it's software, next week it's semis. A few weeks ago, it was the quantum computing stocks that I put on, in the early stages, IONQ, QUBT, QBTS, and those, and then you had the nuclear stocks. You had NNE, SMR, Oklo. Oklo went from 50 to 150. So, the street grabs hold of these themes. And I think an emerging theme could be this rocket space, these space companies. Archer Aviation, I think this is AEHR, Joby Aviation, ASTS Space Mobile, and then Rocket Lab. All kind of look like they're, basing much like the quantum stocks before they really rifled higher. So AEHR has broken out of this sizable base, kind of trading at this resistance level and somewhat taking it out, and just feels like, they could grab a hold of this thing. Joby Aviation, kind of same thing, breaking out of this pennant. Looks like it wants to go north. ASTS broke out of this huge bull flag. This kind of looks like Oklo, did it 70 before Oklo went to 180. 150. So ASTS trading a new weekly high and looking very thrusty. And last but not least is Rocket Lab, also kind of building a base right at this breakout area. So this thing looks very coiled. So just a theme to watch, stocks to watch. You always want to be in momentum stocks that move, that can make 20, 30, 50, 100% moves. These guys look like they can do that. Not to feel left out, there's some stocks that are also going lower. I made some really good money on Team this week and eBay. McDonald's looks like it's breaking out of a bear flag here, sitting on a ledge at 300, just below. And this kind of looks vulnerable, maybe even building a head and shoulders here. So it looks like the next move of McDonald's is lower. Dave, kind of also looking vulnerable within triangle here, or whatever you want to call this thing. So, may have another move left in it, but this thing looks like it's leaking to the downside. Looks like it's already broken this week. Have to see where we close. So DAVE closing just below this flag pattern. Team, it's been on my S list for a long time. Just took a long time to break. It's got a nasty looking head and shoulders pattern with a downsloping neckline. Typically, the necklines are horizontal. This implies that this move is going to be bigger and swifter if it breaks this. We're still sitting on this. We could bounce here, but there was some good signals, and I took this short this week, took a nice healthy chunk out of this short side of this thing, and it still looks poised to go lower. This looks about 130. It's the next support level in TEAM. And then eBay kind of looks like it's breaking this descending triangle and looks vulnerable to go lower. So just some things on to watch out if the market gets squishy. McDonald's looks really interesting. So I just thought it would be worthy to kind of take a closer look at these breakout moves that then hold. These are two stocks that I was looking at. They broke out of above all their highs. This is a STOK. Again, it doesn't really matter what the name is, just focus on the visual here, where you break out slightly. You take out all the highs, create all this liquidity, and then you dump hard. This is a 4-hour time frame. So, this thing just non-stop, just craters. So you make a new high, you're all comfortable that you're holding something that just broke out, and then you're watching 6 hours of things just going straight down. But at the end of the day, this was like this is like you're still in this noisy trading range. So it's very easy to lose sight. And this is, I think, the folly of looking at shorter term time frames, because when you're looking at this on a 5-minute chart, this is all you see. You really can't see the run up, the structure. All you're seeing is that this thing looks like it's blood red and looking like it's going to go to zero. But and a lot of stocks are doing this. They're breaking out, pulling back into the trading range. This is just a trading range. and then holding. So I kind of look as to, how far the sell-off goes. And then, you have like 4 hour, 12 hours where those lows just held in a stock that is inherently still in an uptrend. So again, very easy to lose sight of everything in the chaos here. But this is still very much an up market, a very high type thing as we saw in the weekly for STOK. And this is what a lot of stocks are doing now behaviorally. They're breaking out. I think you had VSEC. There's a number of them that I'm looking at with this type of behavior. So again, it's just something to keep an eye on and understand. Breakout, hard break back into the range, and then Humpty Dumpty gets put back together again. And it's just, again, you want to just see if these lows hold. Obviously, if, we keep leaking, that's not the same thing. So you want to just see the low, and then over time, it looks like the lows are holding. So I just start buying it above those highs. Then you can put your stop right there and you can create a very good risk reward trade. I've just bought some on the close again. Frankly, you guys can just come in at 3:30 p.m. That's what I do. I come in at 3:30. I have, 400 stocks that I go through and, very, very quickly. And then if I see something like this, I just buy it on the close. That's my day. You can literally buy these things and, wake up tomorrow and, take some profits. So Vive, same thing. Vive was on my list over the weekend. Again, it was a real mistake. I don't like just buying arbitrarily at highs. I do like to wait for some kind of pullback, but, I thought that this might get away from me and, whatever. I mean, look, it was straight up. And so on Monday, this thing just opened straight lower. So, I withheld buying the thing and then just waited to see if, this thing can put itself back together again. And you can see that the lows, there was another low, but it never took out that hard dump low, that squat back into the range. So you wait 3 bars. I saw this held, start buying it at 295, and then I bought some right at the close, whatever that closing price was last night. So I think I've got another example of that. But a lot of these stocks are doing this now, and they're incredible opportunities. I don't even know how to characterize them, though. Again, whether these work or not all of this is going to work. It's just what we try and do is identify good risk-reward setups. So this is still early, VSEC, but it's the same kind of characteristic. Break out of a high and then hard sell-off right back into the trading range. But at the end of the day, you're still in this trading range. So it looks like a monster move here, and it is. But the cadence, this is still a huge up market, and this is just a consolidation with all kinds of whips. And that's why I don't like trading sideways markets. I mean, just wait till the confirmation. So this still hasn't confirmed. But what I like about this is that this low is held, this huge hard dump, the low has held. Now, I'm not in it yet. I would wait for a confirmation above this, 170 or whatever, but I'm keeping an eye on this thing. The sell-off low has held. All these lows are still higher. It's just another variation, a stock that makes a new high, breaks out, you're all excited, and then all of a sudden, you're down 20 bucks. So that's the harsh reality of these markets, that you can't just arbitrarily buy breakouts. And again, these are characteristic of what's happening in the market. You have a breakout, hard pullback, squat, and then if Humpty Dumpty puts itself back together again, it's like a beach ball, effect where you push, and push, and then the pressure builds and you go in the direction of the trend. So I have a feeling that maybe not right now, but VSEC could be a great opportunity in the not too distant future. So that, folks, is I try to fit a lot into that. I am also watching Qualcomm. I do have a position in Qualcomm. I feel like it's the same thing that could be for MU before MU took off. So this is QCOM. It's a weekly chart. A lot of noise right here we got to get through, but it just feels like this is a monster inverted head and shoulders building. Again, there's a lot of noise just in this area. If we can start getting above 170, 175, there's just nothing but green space to run into, blue skies. I think even on the monthly, there's a long-term bull flag that this thing is breaking out of. So again, there's just some noise in here, but I have a feeling this is going to go. Nvidia's broken out, $4 trillion stock, and had a nice bull flag here. No reason why this thing can't go to 200. So again, very hard to write the obituary of this market when the strongest stocks look like they're just getting stronger. So here was a nice bull flag to Nvidia, and look at the run up to this flag, which suggests that there's going to be some legs continuous. We're right at these highs. You could get this pullback thing, and again, this is the thing to watch for. Buy a pullback if you get one of these 4-hour pullbacks. But this thing looks like it's got a lot of room north. I know there was, so it looks like Oscar's up 3%. Yeah, OSCR looks like it's breaking out. Yeah, this is perfect pullback. And this was the pattern all the way back here. So this is the squat that I bought into. I bought it right there and didn't get out as well as I should have. I saw it up here, waited for this pullback, but still took a nice healthy chunk out of this thing. And it looks like this has been the pullback, and just feels like we're going to go higher in OSCR. I think it's up 3% in the pre-market at almost 20 bucks. The high yesterday was 20. So we take that out. It looks like this thing's going to just get going. Very noisy. But you've also taken out this bull flag on the weekly too. So on the weekends and even before, I started looking at the weekly. These are very instructive. Takes a lot of noise out. So you can see the size of this impulse move kind of implies the same run up. Yeah, so Sean, all these things that I just referenced, Giddy, IONQ, all these quantum, it's getting a little nosebleed. Once I get 3 of these, I start getting out. So, but again, and if you look at the aerospace stocks that I just put up, they feel like, the aerospace stocks feel like you are here in RKLB or ASTS. ASTS has the feel like you are here. But again, this is what these things look like before that. You had this nice weekly symmetrical triangle. And a lot of these things fall up in these symmetrical triangles, long-term, short-term. So this is how to train your eye, and how to look for these setups. Yeah. Quite amazing. Now, I certainly wouldn't chase it. I try and buy things at the breakout. I mean, obviously you could have bought this thing anywhere, but the discipline is to, get it early and don't chase. Qualcomm, AMD, OSCR, there's just a million of them. This little stock, IMNM, looks like it's building a base. RBRK this is a squat move lower, and it held a low. So, is this beach ball effect going to uncork to the upside here? Could be. Made a ton of money on Beyond Meat, a whole different thing on this kind of short squeeze, where you break to new lows, you have this bull trap, everybody's short, now they got to cover. So RBRK could have one of these beach ball underwater effects. I mean, this is it was an earnings dump, but you could come back into the trend here. RBRK. Pony was one of these moves again that proceeded with this. They all kind of look like this. That's why I stuck that BETR. So they all have these monster run-ups, but then they consolidate into these symmetrical triangles. All you have to do is wait for that. Pony. There's one that I'm forgetting about. I made a ton on. It looked just like that before. I know there was UMAC, but I'm thinking of something else. So UMAC kind of has that same look. This huge monster run up, and then they get into these symmetrical triangle. Here's the little bottom here, and this thing looks like it still wants to go higher. But this is what they look like before they all break. Cores, Sean, I think we were talking about this, 15 bucks. Same thing, this huge run up, and then you kind of get into this symmetrical triangle. So that's why I was kind of looking at this BETR. Maybe not quite the same look, but you can see this symmetrical triangle here. Hasn't developed as good a base as PONY or UMAC or Cores. I know I'm leaving out one. Stock is up slightly. Vive is up slightly. Snowflake was a good breakout from a symmetrical triangle. Sale, I bought a little bit of this on the breakout. PSTG also had a nice flag. This thing looks pretty good on the weekly. Kind of watching LMND, not as nicely developed. Kind of watching it. This is ELF. Not sure about this either. So very long ViV stock, Qualcomm, US CAD. What's Sean? You're high on something that doesn't move. Looks like it's got a base. I don't know. I don't trade these things. It's just, I mean, we just saw RGTI go from 15 to 35. You know, I don't, it's not even worth spending time on things that are not volatile. I mean, it looks like it's got a base. Looks like it could go higher. I don't know. Kind of puts me to sleep. I want crap like, you know, RGTI that's just going to smoke higher. Look for high momentum stocks. Look for things that have an average true range of $5 or that move. So Graham asked, does this mean that if there is a trend or impulsive move, the stock will continue in the same direction? Well, you always want to look for the confirmation. I mean, a symmetrical triangle is a neutral, which means it could break out both ways. It could do a fake breakout, but you know, typically, here, let's stick them all up. I'm just forgetting one though. There was one and I'm just forgetting one. I made a ton of money and I look at so many symbols, my head's spinning. Sound looks like a one that I put this up on Monday or Wednesday, SOUN at whenever this was down here. I don't know if anybody bought it. I did. It looks like it came out of this little triangle here. Man, it's just this one symbol. It's really, but it's kind of, it's all the same. Trying to find what that was. Killing me. My memory is shot. But to your question, Graham, so a lot of these small cap stocks have had these run-ups, you know, kind of what we call the impulse move, 4 to 13 in UMAC. And I remember talking to this about this kind of, and it's the same thing. Cores ran up and then Pony ran up. And at the time, I was identifying these things before they broke out and pointing out these symmetrical triangles. I don't know if you guys remember. All the way, you know, when these guys were all the way here. And there's one other that I made a ton of, and I can't remember that for the life of me. So yeah, so Graham, it's just, again, you just want to, you know, make certain observations. And then, you know, your eye, once you see something, you can't unsee it. So, you know, on one hand, you know, I just want to talk about like kind of mastering one setup, you know, just talking about a bull flag here. You know, all you have to do is, you know, understand here's the impulse move, the flag, and then you had a really nice move. So there are, you know, many different ways to approach things, but you know, there are certain things that are now, and now with these small caps running, these very, you know, again, these stocks were $5, $8, ran to 18, then went all the way back down 30%. So these are the characteristics you want to start, you know, focusing on, that a lot of these stocks are running up and then kind of consolidating in these kind of patterns. And to me, it's all about just kind of training your eye to see things, because once you kind of, you know, see something, you can't unsee it, you know. And then it's the concept of pulling back into the, you know, into the trading range, but then holding. So all different things. Don't really want to throw too many concepts out there, but this is what's happening now. A lot of these stocks are coalescing, you know, in these symmetrical triangles and then breaking out hard after. I mean, maybe not the same. It's kind of a weird consolidation for RKLB. So you can see ASTS was kind of the same thing. Looks like UMAC, or you have a hard run up and then kind of the symmetrical triangle. Huge bull flag. I like looking at weekly charts. It really creates a perspective. I think you'll destroy yourself looking at short-term charts. Oh, the market is now open. Are there any other stock? Nothing. ViV opened slightly lower, so you know, had a pretty good move already, but this thing kind of looks like it's breaking out. This looks like a reverse triangle here. I don't know. Could hold too. So we could bang into that and have a bit of resistance, but it does feel like this thing wants to go higher. Yeah, it really does. I mean, this feels like this should go higher to 320, 340. STOK kind of gapped. This thing looks pretty good. This thing looks like it should go to $30. Lemonade is breaking out of this little flag. This could be something. kind of a squat back into the range. NXT did the same thing and then just went up hard. You can see broke hard here into the range. OSCRs gapped up, new highs. Watching Lift. I think Lift could be a good one. It just needs more work here, but this thing looks like a really good base. LYFT, this thing could get interesting. Probably just needs more time. I'm just watching this consolidation here. Somebody was asking about Casey the other day, and I think it was you, Caesar. Caesar's on here, and I just felt like it had a pretty limited upside. Looks like it's coming off hard today. So yeah, I was a little bit hesitant about that little reversal up there. It looks like it's gonna, this BETR looks like it's up 2%. This could be breaking out wide above 60.5. So that's about it. Anybody have any questions or thoughts? AMSC looks interesting. It's also kind of consolidating in a symmetrical triangle here. AMD hesitating right at resistance. Have to see how that does, but I don't know. This thing looks pretty good. This thing looks really good. So this is the weekly. This is the impulse move. Just feels like there's a lot. Now, sometimes these flags, we've seen them, they'll, come 3/4 of the way and fail or retest the base and then go back up. So all kinds of things that can happen. That's why I like to get it right as it's coming out of the chute. But this feels like it should go higher, much higher. So Vive kind of has the feeling to me, I think it was all the way back here, of being in, this kind of long-term consolidation, even maybe not with as much potential. But that's the thing with these consolidations. You can see how there are many times where this broke out and then broke right back into, made a new high, hard. So they'll shake you out. But, the idea is to watch these lows. If this holds, these are not patterns that turn into tops from here. This is just orderly. And the longer, obviously, something goes quiet like this, obviously, the bigger the potential. So who knows? Vive may have another one where it gets up here and has to go back down. Okay, guys, I think I'm going to wrap it up there. Have a great weekend, and hopefully this was inspired you to learn some more. Look at your charts over the weekend. It's the best time. When the markets are moving, you're not distracted. You got to be objective. Yeah. Thanks, Zoran. Get some sleep, man. All right, Graham, Sean, everybody have, see this thing? Lemonade had a hard sell-off and now it's holding and kind of breaking out. Don't love that, but yeah, this thing could get going. This thing could definitely get going. LMND. Yeah, maybe this thing actually looks pretty good. Rocket Lab sold off. Now so this looks like a lot of noise. It is, but this is what I see. And what you want is that pullback like Oscar, or so you see how you break out, get to the top of the flag. It's always dicey. I always take my profits at the top. And then if you get a pullback to the breakout and then it rebounds, this thing looks like it's going to really take off. But look at the size of this impulse move. So what do you think the size of that's going to look like? All right, guys, have a great weekend.